In the second module in this chapter, we'll focus on a program called Mail. Now, as you can probably imagine, Mail is an email program. It's an email client. It's actually a very simple and rudimentary email client, just offering the basic facilities of email that you might expect. It's not particularly user-friendly. It has some limitations and an awkward way of using it. And I would probably imagine that if you have an email account on a particular Unix computer, that you would use a much more sophisticated email client to read your email messages, such as Pine, P-I-N-E. However, those third-party programs are largely proprietary, and this is a course on generic Unix commands, so I'll be showing you the generic Unix email program called Mail. I'm only going to show it to you briefly because, like I said, I don't expect most of you will be using it. I just want to show it to you so that you can know how to send and receive mail in the most basic way, perhaps reply to an email, and so on. Mail is used in two modes. One is used to send an individual message to one or more recipients. To enter this particular mode, you simply type in the following on the command line, the name of the user that you wish to send the mail to. It could be someone on another domain, such as fred@abc.com, or it could be somebody on this computer, just another one of the user accounts on this computer, such as mail root. And if it's on this computer, you don't need to specify the machine name. Either way, you type in mail followed by a space followed by the username to whom you wish to send the message. Let's see what that looks like. Now, I probably shouldn't be sending messages to anybody else on this zip computer, but I could send a message to myself. So I could send it to mvirtue. Now, I could just send it to mvirtue, or I could send it to mvirtue@zip.com.au, which is actually my email address. Now, because this is zip.com.au, it wouldn't actually matter whether I appended the zip.com.au or whether I left it off. The mail would still find its way to me. So what happens when I press enter? Well, it asks me for a subject. So I'll type in, this is a test message. Now that I've pressed enter a second time, it's just sitting there waiting. It's not doing anything. Well, what's it waiting for? It's waiting for me to type the body of the message. So I'll do that now. Okay, the message is all typed. So now I press enter again. Now it's still sitting there waiting for me to keep typing. Now, can you remember the keystroke that we use to tell any Unix program that we have finished typing and that we have nothing more to type? Can you remember that? It's Control-D. So I type Control-D. It asks me if I want to send it CC to anyone, carbon copy, and I'm going to say no to that. I'm just going to press enter. And I get my shell prompt back, which means the mail has been successfully sent. So that's how you go about sending an email, a regular email, using the mail program. If you actually want to check your email, you can use the same program, but you use it in a slightly different way. To read your messages and reply to them, you use the program just by itself, MAIL on the command line. So now I simply type in MAIL and I get the following screen. I now have an interactive program with its own little prompt. The prompt is the ampersand sign. It's waiting for me to type in a mail command. So I guess we need to know what the various mail commands are. Well, we can use the question mark character to find that out. We type in question mark and I get a list of message commands. They're all typically single letter commands followed by a list of messages. The list of messages is actually the number of the email program that you wish to perform the action on. If you want to know what those numbers are, then you simply type in the H command. H is short for headers. You'll notice that H isn't even on that list, but H will give you that original list of email messages. Now, there's only one, so you can see that there is a 1 near the beginning of the line. just after the greater than sign and the N, which means this is a new message, a new unread message. So if you want to read message number 1, you simply type in 1, like that. And then you press enter, and it shows you the message. If I was to press enter again, it would show me the next message. But there aren't any more, it's at EOF, which is end of file. We're at the end of the file. Now I can do various things to the message. Once I've read it, I can delete it just with the letter D, or I can specify the number of the message that I wish to delete, which would be, in this case, the 4th message. But I don't have a 4th message, so that obviously wouldn't work. Oops, now that was the Control H. I've been pressing the backspace key, and it's giving me Control H. What I'd really like to do is actually backspace over what I typed, and I have to do that using the delete key in this particular program, although that could be different on your system. Just be aware that they are different. If your backspace key doesn't work, try your delete key, if you have one. So I'm backspacing over that. What else could I do to a message? Well, I could reply to it. I could just simply type R space 1, or just R by itself. If I want to reply to the most recently viewed message, then I don't need to specify the message number. So I could say reply, and it's already showing me who that's going to be to and the subject, and now I type in the reply. This is my boring reply. Mark, oops, there's that backspace thing again, and Control D. CC to nobody, thank you very much, and now we're back at a prompt again. Now, that's really all I want to show you about Mail. There's obviously a lot more to it, and you can read the quite comprehensive man page on Mail if you want to know more. But I've shown you how to create mail, send mail, I've shown you how to reply to mail and delete mail. The only thing that remains to see is how to quit the program. Now, that's not as simple as it might sound. The simplest way to get out of Mail is to type Q, or QUIT, for quit. And that will certainly get you out. But what it will also do is it will take all the mail messages that you have, the ones that you've read, not the unread ones, and it will save them into a file in your home directory called mbox, MBOX. It will append them onto the end of that file if the file already exists. The messages will be removed from the server. In other words, they'll be removed from your mailbox, your actual mailbox on the server, which means you will not be able to access those email messages from any other email program. Now, if all of that is perfectly okay with you, then you can go ahead and type Q. If, however, you want to leave your email on the mail server untouched, then instead of typing Q, you would type in X. Now, I do want to leave it all untouched, because I use a different email program to read my email messages. I use Outlook on my Windows computer, and I don't want this mail session to interfere with that. So I'll simply type in X, and it leaves it all behind. It's also telling me that I have new mail, which would be that reply that I just sent myself. I can go in there and check, and now there are 2 messages. Just to show you what it would look like, if I read the first one, it looks like that. Read the second one, it looks like that. Now if I type in Q, well, I get a segmentation fault. That's actually a illegal operation, or whatever you want to call it, as you might have seen in something like Windows. So you can see that Unix programs have bugs in them as well. Anyway, what I would have seen is that those 2 messages are saved in the file /home/mvirtue/mbox, and thus I would not be able to access those messages on the server anymore. Okay, well, that's all I want to say about Mail, really. Like I suggested to you before, you'll probably be using another email client, and so the Mail program is only of passing interest to you, I'm guessing.